Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about going vegan as a teenager or young adult and you still live with your parents. I've been getting a lot of questions about this topic. So many people have been asking me for advice on going vegan but their parents won't let them, or their parents are being very strict on them. So I thought I would tell you about my background with my parents and veganism and then offer you some advice that I think would work because it definitely worked for me. So when I first went vegan, I was actually not living with my parents at the moment and I was away at college like I am right now. And I made the decision to go vegan all on my own, meaning like nobody was around me to influence me. It was mainly just the internet and I was curious and I was like, you know what, let's try it. And I tried it and I loved it, but I didn't tell my family because I knew that they would freak out. Okay, let's do a little background story again. In the developing stages of my eating disorder, I went vegan and I chose to go vegan because it would cover up me not eating a lot. And I really had no idea why I was vegan other than the fact that I would be able to eat less and like conceal it. I mean, consciously I wasn't thinking like, oh, I want to eat less, so let's go vegan. I was thinking more like, let's just try going vegan for Lent and see how it works out. I am of the Roman Catholic church religion or whatever, so we celebrate Lent and for 40 days we give something up. So I was like, you know, I'm gonna go vegan for Lent. But I was really thinking, I'm gonna go vegan for Lent and I get to eat less and yay for me. So when I went vegan, I ate less obviously and I worked out all the time and I lost a bunch of weight. And then my eating disorder kicked in. So my parents had this like bitter taste associated with the word vegan. So when I mentioned veganism to them, and the way that I mentioned veganism to them was that on my birthday, on February 12th, of last year, I sent an email to my family because at this time it had been a little bit under a month that I've been vegan and I've already started my passion. Like I've already just grown into it and I knew that this was the right thing to do with my life and my health and all that. So I really just wanted to share this with my family finally because I knew this was something that would stick with me and it's just not another one of those fads. So I emailed them and I was like, I'm not asking you guys to do anything. I'm not asking you to change your lifestyle, change your diet or anything. Just watch this video and please understand why I am choosing to do this for myself. And the video that I shared with them was Gary Yourofsky's The Best Speech You'll Ever Hear. And I think that is one of the most influential, important, impactful, powerful messages that I've ever heard on the internet or just in person ever. Like, how could you watch that and be like, well, I'm still gonna eat meat and it's a good thing. Like, there's no way. You could say I'm still gonna eat meat, but you'll know in the back of your head that it's bad. Anyway, going back to it. My mom calls me. I think she called me the next day or the same day or something, and she blew up. She was so upset. I can't even explain it. She just sounded hysterical. She was like,
"You're going vegan, you're going back into your eating disorder, you're getting anorexia again, you need to go see a therapist, you need to see a nutritionist, you need to come back here and go back to the clinic."
I was honestly really scared. I was like, no, Mom, please, 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 this isn't it. And I was arguing with her and crying and I was like, Mom, I'm not going back into an eating disorder. I'm healthy, this is good for me. And she's like,
no, you're restricting your food again all of a sudden. Next thing you know, it's gonna turn into you not eating anything and you're not gonna eat anything anymore.
And I was distraught to say the least from that conversation. And I went outside and I was crying and I had to call my sisters for support. And one of my sisters said, if you think that it's a healthy thing for you and if you think that that's what you want to do with your life, then go ahead, do it. Just make sure it's in a healthy way. And maybe for Mom's sake, go see a therapist or nutritionist anyway if they're gonna pay for it to, you know, calm down her nerves. And I was like, oh, okay, that's a good idea. I'm the type of person who does whatever the fuck I want, regardless of if my parents say no or if people tell me it's a bad idea. If I really, really, really want to do it, then I will do it and I don't care what anyone says. So I knew I was gonna go into veganism anyway, regardless of what my mom said. I just hated that she would think that I'm doing it because I have an eating disorder. So I thought maybe if I went to a therapist and nutritionist, then she would be chill with it. So I decided like maybe that's what I'm gonna do. So I was looking up therapists specializing in eating disorders, even though my eating disorder was not even part of this decision. I really could care less about eating less or losing weight or looking a certain way. I was just doing it for my mom's sanity. While I was looking for a nutritionist and a therapist for that, just to ease my mom's mind, I talked to my dad on the phone and then he said, what is all this drama that I'm hearing with you and your mom, and like you're going vegan? And I was like, yeah, I'm going vegan. And he asked me why, and I told him that I'd done so much research and it was awesome. Basically, I can't remember from the top of my head exactly what he was saying, but what I do remember is that he said, okay, well, as long as you're eating food, as long as you're eating, you know, vegan, if you're paleo, if you're herbivore, frugivore, carnivore, whatever, as long as you're eating food and as long as you're being healthy and you're living, then go ahead. And I was like, oh, okay. Because my dad has always been very like, as long as you're eating, as long as you're healthy, it doesn't matter what you're eating, just be healthy. And I thought that was really awesome and a way, and an indirect way of his support. And I told him about going to see a therapist and nutritionist, and he laughed and he was like, do you need to see a therapist and nutritionist? And I was like, no, but mom wants me to see a therapist. And he was like, well, why? If you're fine, then you don't need to. And then I thought about it again. And I called my mom, and then I told her, you know what, Mom? I'm not gonna see a therapist. I'm not gonna see a nutritionist because I know that this is healthy for me, and I know that I'm taking care of myself, and I know that this is healthy, and I know myself better than anyone else knows me. And I promise you, if I come home and I've lost 10 pounds and I look emaciated and pale and I look like I'm obsessing over food and losing weight, then you can take my word right now. You can record this, you can write this and date this. You can put me back into an eating disorder clinic. But for now, just trust me, know that what I'm doing is healthy for my body. And if you see anything otherwise, then you have all the rights to take me back to go see a therapist and nutritionist for an eating disorder. But right now, I'm not in an eating disorder. I am being healthy-minded about this and level-headed, and yeah. When I first got home, my mom had all sorts of questions for me. She saw me eating bananas and she was like, bananas? There's no nutrition in that. And so I pulled up my chronometer and I was like, look, Mom, 10 grams of protein in this smoothie. And then I showed her all of the essential amino acids that are in that profile, all of the fat percentages. The months that I was away from home but in school, I was also doing a lot of research for myself, just trying to learn more about veganism and being immersed in the whole world of information that a lot of people don't know about. And so I had already known this type of information, like nutrition facts and ethical vegan facts, like the back of my hand. So whenever my parents asked me questions about getting enough protein, about getting enough fat, about where my carbohydrates are coming from, I had answers for everything. I had answers for, is it even ethical? Does it even matter to the environment? What about iron? What about B12? What about calcium? Not only had I had answers of where I was getting those things from, but I also had disputes. So when my mom asked me about calcium, I was like, you know, Mom, there actually is a negative amount of calcium that you get from eating dairy items, right? If you want to learn more about that, make sure you watch Forks Over Knives. Basically, I had all of the information that anybody would ask me in my head already because I had done so much research. And if I didn't know an answer, I would research it and then tell them about it later on. This made the transition and for the idea of veganism to be accepted into my parents' household so much easier. Because I showed that I knew what I was doing, they were no longer worried about my food. They were no longer worried about me staying healthy. I came back from school looking healthier, happier, brighter, and more passionate than ever. It was really hard for them to fight with the results when the results were clearly saying that this girl is healthy. It actually piqued my mom's curiosity a lot. I remember I would be eating my huge salads for dinner and I'd be eating like my rice and potatoes, and guests at my house would ask me what I'm eating. So then I would tell them, and then my mom was like, tell them how much protein is in it and how much like calcium and iron is in it too. And she would always be like, oh yeah, Amanda's vegan. And while yes, sometimes it's annoying for parents or anybody to really highlight you as like vegan, it was cool that when my mom was finally accepting that and then she was presenting it to other people like, look at my daughter, like as if I were a unicorn she was trying to present to the public that she found. Like, she's a vegan, yay! Which, I mean, it's really cool because her doing that showed that she was definitely accepting and allowing me to just do my thing as a vegan. And I realized that this little story has gone on for too long, so I'm going to stop this right here and then I will give my tips on how to get your parents to help you go vegan in the next video. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little background story of myself. Please, please, please give this video a like. If you give it a like, then more people are prone to see it, so yeah, go do that. I mean, down there, it doesn't really take anything. You just click it and then you go on with the rest of your day, right? Subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you next time. Bye. She's taking a photo of my food for her Snapchat. But you guys,